Live spinning out. Yo, hey girl, it's Leah the Shamrep nonetheless, and welcome to Cambox with Shani. All right, let me just fix something over here. Everybody come through like a mug and woo. Special guest managed to make it in the building. Hang on one second. Oh God. Yeah, you've got to be on mute, girl. Can't be hearing me twice. Once is enough, I think, for some people. How do you spell the name? Malignaggi. Malignaggi, I think. I always have hi. Malignaggi. Yeah, there we go. Save. We're going to have that scrolling. There we go. Yo. So what's this? UGC Flame. Mark Nash in the building. Kaboom. Superfly in the building. Kaboom. Iceman in the building. Kaboom. Leon Figures in the building. Super chat. I need to get a soundboard. Super chat. I'll do it myself. Votes in the building. Harry Travolta. Is it Travolta? Like as in John. Any relation to John Travolta? Any relation to John Travolta? Harry Travolta. Did you know you guys just picked some wild random names? Right. Graham Taylor, kaboom. It's all loud out here. All right. We have got the special guest that we've been waiting for maybe about a month, maybe even longer, maybe about a month. So I'm introducing Paulie Malignaggi. Paulie.
What's up? What's going on?
Tell me.
You tell me. How's it going?
It's going how it's going. It's going all right.
Likewise. Yeah. I have my caffeinated drink here, ready to get wild.
Yeah, don't be doing no commercials here.
No, only caffeinated drinks, no brand names.
Caffeinated drinks either, just anonymous. Paulie, I'm so glad that we finally got it together. It was just scheduling problems. I thought I had COVID, took the test, I didn't have it, but I was a bit ill, still trying to work through, and get stuff done. I've been overworked and underpaid.
Yeah. That's the story of a lot of people's lives today. And then there's other people. There's other people these days picking up a lot of government checks and getting overpaid and underworked.
I overpaid and I'd rather it that way. Would you rather it that way? I'd rather it that way. Underwork me and overpay me. God damn. Well, the notes that I made disappeared into the ethos. So you know me. We got to do this on the fly. This is what we do. This is what we UGC Flame. Lee. Thanks for the super chat. Massively appreciated. Salute to you, sir. All right, fight fan figures. Right, where are we starting? Because where did we look? No, we're gonna do a weekly wrap up in with. We're gonna touch on some topics. Oh my God, boxing. We're gonna be talking about because you got a fight coming.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call that a fight. I would call that more like a beat.
Let's start there. Go ahead.
A beat. I would call it more like an assault, not a fight. That's a little beef I wound up getting into with the TikToker, and he's got a big mouth, and his mouth's fine to check, his ass can't cash, and I'm just gonna go and handle him on a night real quick. It's not gonna be. I wouldn't consider it really a fight because there's nothing I have to take too serious as far as getting ready. It's not. I'm gonna train. I've already told him I'm gonna train like Damon Wayans in the movie Great White Hype. So it's literally gonna be like I got my sodas here. Okay, I'm in training right now. Look at me. Look how hard I'm working. So
is it overpaid and underworked job?
It's yeah, sort of. Yeah, I mean, paying me to beat up on this guy is basically overpaying me no matter what you give me, right? So at the end of the day, it's
You
I'm
started it.
curious. I'm curious to see the reception of all this, because I'm still in a weird place with all these TikTokers, YouTubers, Instagrammers getting this airplay, and now I found myself beefing with one of them and about to smack one of them up. So it's
Your fault.
I'm curious about all this.
It's your fault. You called into him and cursed him out on his show. Then
Oh,
he retaliated.
did you get that story from him? Did you get that story from him?
I
is
saw
that what
him
he's
on
telling
an
you?
interview. I saw him on an interview.
I called him up. He was bragging about the fact that he was going to do fights and he just started boxing like yesterday and all this other stuff. And people were giving him attention. He was going to do a fight and he was going to, basically like he was just playing it up for the cameras to try to become like, another Instagram or YouTuber that picks up all these viewers and can't fight. So I called. I didn't call to start a fight with him. I called to put him in his place and be like, oh, listen, man, you guys are all getting out of hand. You guys are all coming out of pocket. You guys are really ruining the image of the sport. And none of you know how to fight. None of you know how to fight. Even the Paul brothers, at least they've got a few years in it. But really, I mean, you can consider them like top level fighters, upper echelon fighters. But granted, the attention they get, they're getting it. Anybody who boxes 3 years is at least capable of boxing. But that doesn't mean that they are now suddenly on a world class level. So even a YouTuber that has a lot of following that has been boxing for a few years, it doesn't mean they're of that ilk. So this guy who just started boxing yesterday, basically, I was like, oh, listen, come on, bro. Don't tell me you too. Don't tell me you're going to use your platform here on this morning radio show to play yourself like, you're of a certain level of boxer, this and that. And one thing led to another, and we ended up kind of arguing about it more than it needed to be because he was the one being disrespectful on the phone, and I told him, I was like, you wouldn't be being this disrespectful if we were in person, live, face to face.
So then he said he'd get you at your place of work.
Yeah, and that's kind of put it over the top.
Should have turned off.
I'll give him credit. I'll give him credit for having the balls to do it, though. I'll give him credit for having the balls to do it. I didn't think he would ever do something like that. Granted, he still did it and ran, so it wasn't really like he did it. Because I told him on the phone, I'm like, you would never ever talk the way you talk this reckless in person. If I was in your face, you would never talk this reckless, and that goes for a lot of people out there that talk reckless about me. They would never do it in person. This guy, I'll tell you, I'll give him credit. I mean, he did it and he ran, so he didn't actually do it face to face. He did it and then he took off. I had to run after him, but nonetheless, he did more than what most people would. I mean, I've gotten in people's faces when they've been disrespectful, and they're not that brave anymore when it's face to face.
You're right. Did it hurt?
No, it didn't hurt. It was, I was more like, what is this powder? So I turned around like, what is this powder all over me? And then I turn around and he's talking shit as he's running. He's talking and he's backing up. He's already backpedaling, and I'm like, "Oh hell no! It is this guy!" Like, so I just ran. But by the time I got to him, the bouncers were already there because they saw him. They were already grabbing him too, So it was kind of
I think security. Did he get thrown out? Did he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. I think he got thrown out. I saw him like in the upper levels of afterwards. I don't know if they threw him out. If they put him in the upper level.
Yeah. How did this fight up? When is it? What's the date? Have you not confirmed it?
They're looking at October 2nd. If you I don't want to call this fight because I've been in real fights. I can't in good conscience call this a fight. Like this is a beating. This is a night where I'm gonna smack him around. You can't call this a fight. This is not a fight.
How many rounds?
Plus, they want bigger gloves, shorter rounds. It's like I don't know, man. We still haven't even ironed out all that out, So it's not like I wouldn't call this a fight. This is gonna be like more of a put an Instagrammer in his place, a TikToker in his place, for coming out of pocket. The way a lot of them are starting to. And I really, when I do the announcing press conference, I'm going to make a deal with him. I'm going to say, if he beats me, I'm stepping away from boxing completely. And I'm going to tell him, I'm going to fight him with one hand. Because if I fight him with two hands, I'm going to put him in a hospital. So I tell him, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to fight you with one hand and I'm going to embarrass you. And when I beat you, you have to make a public service announcement to every Instagrammer, YouTuber, and TikToker that say, hey, listen, guys, you don't play boxing. I'm living proof. And I just got embarrassed by a real pro boxer. Don't play boxing. Don't do this. Don't try this at home. Don't become a boxer. That's the bet he's got to agree to. And I'll agree that if he beats me, even one-handed, if he beats me, I'll step away from boxing completely. completely. Fighting, commentating. You'll never see me in boxing ever again.
No,
so that's
we can't afford for that to happen. We need to see you. Don't
yeah, that's the
let
best. Well, that's good. Well, he's not gonna win, so that's the bet I'm proposing to. But I want to see him make this public service announcement as an embarrassed, defeated guy after I handle him. So that's what I'm gonna propose at the press conference.
Oh God, what are we gonna do with you lot? We not the fights that we want. We want Canelo and Caleb Plant. It's just been breaking news that negotiations have fallen flat.
How? I heard Heyman was getting Canelo. Is that even true or no?
He was going to get him for one fight deal.
And now he has it.
And then Caleb, over the weekend, it's just breaking just before I spoke to you. Just before I got on here, breaking news. Negotiations have fallen flat and the fight's off.
Wow. And why? Because Caleb wanted the $10 million?
It said that according to Mike Coppinger, he got the 10 million. Canelo's got his biggest payday, 40 million plus. They was back and forth in with the, they wanted the replies, they wanted the edits done, back and forth, and somehow it fell short. Just
how? Now. So Canelo was getting 40 million when he usually gets 35, so he was happy, and Caleb was getting 10 when he was originally offered 8.5. So how was he not happy? I mean, unless there's something we don't know, because if everybody got what they usually get and then some, and this fight should be made.
But you know what it could be? Because sometimes these guys do in the rematch clause, you only get the rematch if the A side loses.
Yeah. Okay.
So it could be something like that.
I mean, you can't go into an A side guy like Canelo and already have a rematch clause present before. I understand Caleb has the IBF title, so he wants to do that, but the reality of that situation is I don't think Caleb is in a position to negotiate a rematch clause in this situation. Canelo is probably in a position to go negotiate a rematch clause if he loses. So maybe in that rematch clause, maybe Caleb wanted the upper hand on the percentages. I mean, maybe that's a possibility.
Man, then he may have to fight. He may have to go up to 175. So his undisputed thing at 168 doesn't look like that's going to happen then. And that means they're thinking of Bivol and Beterbiev.
Yeah, those are tough fights, though.
They're tough fights for him. They're bigger guys.
They're both punchers at that weight, too.
Both punchers. Yeah. What are you going to do? Trying to be undisputed at 175 then? That's going
to you need a couple extra doses of that Mexican meat. That's what you do. You gotta eat a few extra doses of that.
You need the whole cow.
The guys that are hurting natural 175 pounds,
Yeah, that's going to be wild. He's going to need the whole cow. So that's breaking news. I'll have to do a report on that. What do you think of Canelo Alvarez?
I think he's a good fighter. I really do. I think he's multifaceted. I think he's a bona fide star in boxing. I think he's the cash cow, and so he's obviously got the upper hand in all the negotiations. Do I think he's been a beneficiary of a few gifts? Yeah, I thought he lost both Golovkin fights. I thought he probably could have lost the Lara fight as well. But under present circumstances and under the circumstances of his record and the results he's gotten, right now he's probably the biggest star in boxing. I don't know if he's the pound for pound best in boxing, like some people try to say. Star power doesn't necessarily equate to effectiveness all the time. He's definitely very, very effective. I wouldn't consider him a pound for pound guy though, because the problem with the pound for pound list is, first of all, it's made up and it's just a fantasy thing, number one. Number two, if you get beat, you're usually not going to be on the pound for pound list. So Canelo, under normal circumstances, would probably have 2, maybe 3 losses on his record, And so he wouldn't even be considered in the pound for pound list under the criteria we have today if that were the case. But nonetheless, that doesn't make him any less of a good fighter. And this is another problem with boxing and the whole wins-loss problem, the whole wins-loss obsession. And then the media tries to play like, wins and losses. It shouldn't be about wins and losses. Old school guys used to fight. But meantime, it's the media themselves who have created this problem to begin with, They're by making things like pound for pound lists where fighters with losses don't even exist, So the reality of it is, everybody is a bit, everybody in boxing, every star in boxing has to be a bit manufactured. You need good promotion and whatnot. But Canelo also has the tools to, be the star that he is, despite despite the I wouldn't call them fragilities, but despite the negative side as well. There's pros and cons, but he's definitely the biggest star in boxing right now. I'd say him and probably AJ. Him and AJ are probably the two biggest stars in boxing.
Checks in the mail, Paulie. Checks in the mail. Checks in the mail. I had to have it on hold. I've just told the assistant to mail it out. Go mail it out.
All right. So now that I mentioned AJ, of course, the UK is happy.
We love him. But right now he's getting a lot of people.
No, but AJ too. I mean, I've worked AJ fights. It's funny. I work Canelo fights and I work AJ fights, so I can see the bonafide star power they have. I mean, it's something amazing to see. So
I know it's crazy that you've been at. The big fights, you've commentated at them, like you've been there.
Mm-hmm.
You're like the closest person that I could reach out to, that been to those fights.
Yeah. And I've been I worked big event. I worked Mayweather Pacquiao, heard Mayweather McGregor, Klitschko and Joshua, and then I worked a handful of Canelo fights as well when he had the Showtime contract.
Yeah.
Actually, the very first fight I ever worked with Showtime was a Canelo fight. It's funny, ironically. The very first show I did with Showtime, the one that got me the job, where they tried me out and they got me the job, was Canelo Alvarez against Josecito Lopez. That was the very first show. Very first show I worked. And after that show, they hired me. I did that show, and then after that show, they literally hired me on the spot. They came out of the truck and they were like, "Yo, you're hired. Like you need to stop boxing." Yeah.
Like, what way?
Yeah. So me and Canelo have a history, regardless of contradictory statements.
Yeah.
Like that, right?
You gotta send him a check. Say, yeah, you know what? Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Because of you, I was at. But then what? All right. So what changed? Why they said good night, God bless? Which that was a big mistake in my opinion that they did when they told you see you later.
It's funny. I don't have a problem with people saying they told me see you later. Because I'm not going to go into the technicalities of it with every single person that asks me. Mm-hmm. But it's funny because we had time to discuss it here. I wouldn't consider that they told me see you later. They basically said, in a nutshell, say sorry or we're going to have to part ways. So I was like, all right, peace. And it's essentially that's how it was. So
yeah, I know it was.
Did they fire me? I mean, I don't know. Maybe they would have had me apologize and then say see you later anyway. It's possible. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been corporate networks that have done that anyway.
Sure.
But as far as I was concerned, I wasn't. First of all, the intention wasn't to offend anyone anyway.
No.
Regardless who was offended, and I do think that most people were not offended, white or black. I really do. I've even spoken to black people, many of them, and who told me they were not offended by what I said. But
what did you? Hang on, I know bits of it. What did you say? Like ineffectively.
Ineffectively, the quote was taken out of context and effectively first and foremost, because there was an interview and it was during the pandemic, and a lot of reporters were just trying to get clicks because they weren't getting any fights to cover. So there's a lot of coverage that was lacking, right? So I've got a lot of friends in the business, so I did them favors, and I was doing a couple of guys favors and just said, I'll take a call with you, and you get this interview and then you get some clicks on it, right? I mean, everybody's looking to see who they can talk to during the pandemic. I wasn't working, so
we're bored. We're bored.
Yeah, so I said, all right, you guys are trying to make money. You guys are trying to make sure you guys keep yourselves relevant, despite not having any fights. You guys are still trying to make sure your web interviews, your websites get clicks. Mm-hmm. I understand. Listen, everybody's trying to make a buck, right? So I'm friendly with most people in the business, right? So I was like, yeah, sure, So I did a few interviews, and in one of the interviews, I was asked about the Devin Haney quote. And Devin's young too. I don't even count this against Devin. It's so funny because it became all crazy. But Devin's a young kid, and Devin's just trying to be somebody special who at that age you're just striving to work for. And by being somebody special, a lot of times it requires being good, but also being controversial. So I didn't really have a problem with Devin. Being
when he said no white boy can beat me.
Yeah, like. He's not the first person to say that. Bernard Hopkins said that. I think
Mayweather. Muhammad Ali said that.
Yeah, even Ali may have said that. It's controversial. The only issue is once you say that, some of the responses may also become controversial to that. Some of the responses to that may become controversial as well. So if you're going to start addressing it, you can't address the controversial side, but then when there's a controversial response to the controversy, you say, "Oh no, that's not allowed," because then you're not really playing it with an open field. You're just playing it from one side of trajectory, you know. So I really didn't try to play it honestly, because Devin's a young kid, and like I said, Devin's just being a contender his age, you know. But the reporter kind of like pushed on it. He basically said, no, I said, he's young, he'll learn, like, you don't want to really bring that stuff up, especially last year. Last year was kind of a hot year for that, and I don't think that's coincidence either. I think the media will love to overplay it because of the U.S. election year, but, people are too dumb to see that too. But regardless, it was just brought to my attention, and, I try to skate it. If anybody listens to the interview, I started to basically say, you know what, he's young, he'll learn not to say that. And so, but the interviewer had to get his answer. The interviewer had to get his answer, right? So he basically said, well, what would have happened if you would have said that about a black fighter in your era, in your time when you were fighting? So you know me, man, I'm pretty blunt. I was like, well, if you were gonna put it that way, I mean, I probably, if I had my commentating job, I'd probably lose it. And if I was fighting, I'd probably have a hard time getting a network to buy my fights and give me a date, so I'd probably be kind of blackballed, And so I added on to it. I said, and basically I didn't take the time to go into details because the interview was going to go into other subject matters too. I didn't want to harp on the same subject for like a half hour. So I didn't go into details. But basically I said, this is why I don't believe racism is systemic, the oppression is systemic anymore. It's because I was trying to basically say it's circumstantial. In some circumstances, it could be that the white guy has the advantage. In some circumstances, it could be that the black guy has the advantage. In this case, the black kid can say that, and PTV's still going to buy his fights. But if the white kid says that, he's going to get blackballed. It's circumstantial. It's not systemic. But I didn't go into the time of explaining that. I just basically said, listen, that's why I don't believe systemically it exists. It hasn't really existed in this century, and that's it. And then we moved on to other subject matters because it really wasn't that important, for me to explain it. It wasn't meant to offend people. And from what I gather from most people that I spoke to, it didn't offend people. But it offended the racist. It offended the people that don't like white people, and that's really the only side that it offended. So if it offended those kind of people, I'm not sorry. I'm actually glad I did.
Sorry.
I don't care if somebody's racist, I don't care if I offend them.
Yeah. Can I just read this super chat? Big up AJ. Great interview. Yeah, we got the magic man Paulie. That's what we do. We've got another one as well. I don't want to be missing people's ones before they cuss me and say, Sean, you missed out my. We got another super chat. Thanks, Stu, for your super chat sticker. Massively appreciated. £10 in the bizank. Thanks. I'm splitting it half with Paulie, don't worry.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you thank all the sponsors,
Thank all the sponsors, that caffeine drink.
Check.
That's what we do. We've got Iceman. Paulie Malignaggi is a good commentator.
Thank you.
I know he is. I know. Super chat. I know he is. Definitely. I love when Paulie does. Paulie, are you gonna continue to be commentating?
Right now I've been just picking freelance jobs up. I've been in some talks with some people. I may get some gigs, I may not get some gigs. And it's gonna be on my terms regardless. So some people don't like that. And some people, there have been some people interested that kind of shy away because you're not gonna get it on your terms. You're gonna get it on my terms. If I was not going to do it on my terms, I would have just stayed at Showtime. So if anybody who hires me is gonna get it on my terms and not on any and nothing else. Otherwise they don't get me. That's because I got it like that. Unfortunately for the people that thought they won when they got me put out at Showtime, right? So having said that, I've been working some freelance stuff. BYB Bare Knuckle has hired me pretty consistently now. They're an up-and-coming bare knuckle promotion. Funny thing about bare knuckle fighting is I think it's a fledgling sport. I really think it's on the growth. In just a few years, it's picked up a lot of viewership and it's picked up a lot of sponsorships and a lot of fans. So I really think it's growing a lot. So for me to be part of a pretty good promotion,
BYB, and they just hired Mike Goldberg, who was the voice of the UFC play-by-play for like the first 20 years of its existence, you know, maybe 25 years of its existence. He's the play-by-play guy, and I'm one of the analysts. So I think we've got a hot commodity for a commentating team. BYB picked up a monster team, I feel like, as far as the commentating team is concerned, between me, Goldberg, Benny Ricardo's there as well, and we got a few other. Tim Ryan is up there as well. We got a few. And then Dada 5000. Dada 5000, everybody knows him. They had a monster fight against Kimbo Slice in Bellator 2 years ago. And Dada is basically the face of the BYB company, you know. And Dada, from monster of a fighter that he is, he actually knows how to be a professional guy. You know what I'm saying? So it's a cool. I mean, he may not look it when you first look at him with that mohawk, Mr. T mohawk he's got and everything, but I'm telling you, he's actually an intelligent guy, well versed, and he's a good addition. He's a good face for the company and a great addition to the whole team in general. But I think BYB is a company in growth, and we're going to do a good job. I'm also talking to a company called Pro Box Promotions out in Tampa, and they're a growing company as well. They've got some good money behind them and have signed some good prospects, and are in the process of doing a consistent TV ratings show next year, consistent monthly cards next year. I'd be the commentator as well. So between those two, I'm in discussions with them, and then there's something possible in the UK. There's something possible in the UK, but
I want to see you on the zone, man.
Yeah. Well, there's things. It's also something possible in the UK that I'm discussing, but terms haven't been. I wouldn't say finalized. Terms haven't even really been begun to discuss yet. But there is a big interest in me. But of course, again, as I said, unless somebody's ready to hire me on my terms, then it's probably not gonna happen. But BYB and Pro Box so far are allowing me to basically be myself, and they get the commentating that I do.
That's awesome. Allowing you, because that's all you got to do in life, man. I ain't got time to just not be me for money.
And like I said, I mean, I never. The intention is never to purposely offend good people. Offend good people. I wouldn't say not purposely offend, because if I think you're a dirtbag, I don't mind offending.
I want to offend you. Fuck you.
Yeah, but the intention is never to offend good people, and most people are good people. You know, and I understand that sometimes speaking my mind may even offend good people. I mean, I've spoken my mind all my public life, really, and a lot of times, you know, I've made comments about certain people's favorite fighters that they didn't like, you know, and that they offended you. And it's funny because I've noticed the pattern has become this. Basically, the pattern has become, wow, love Paulie. He's never afraid to speak his mind. I love Paulie, you know. And then those same kind of people, until they love Paulie. They love Paulie. He's never afraid to speak his mind until Paulie speaks his mind about something that they don't agree with. Then all of a sudden, it's I can't stand that guy, this and that. So if you love Paulie for speaking his mind, you gotta love Paulie when you agree with him.
I love that all the time.
Because Paulie's gonna give it to you the way he feels, and that's it, right? So you gotta know how to take the good with the bad. But as I said, I've got to learn myself to take the good with the bad as well. So I'm not gonna be everybody's cup of tea most of the time.
Me too. I'm learning this as I go along in this thing. Shout out to Nesta Gibbs. You never believe it. I'm actually his new co-host on his show, the boxing voice, and I've been there for 2 days. Yesterday, I was the best thing. We were talking about Bud Crawford, Earl Spence. Everybody loved me. Then it was AJ time. Then it was AJ today.
That's your guy. That's your time.
Because I talk about Wilder. You know my feet. We'll get it. I was the super villain. Get her off. We hate her on the show.
Of course. Yeah, but you know what? When you generate that many strong opinions, you're probably doing a good job. And opinions, when you generate that many opinions, you have to understand some of them are going to be negative. You're not going to generate that many opinions and then all be positive. If you're generating only positive opinions, you know what that means? You're probably not generating that many opinions overall. You're probably not. But when you generate a lot of opinions, that's really what you want. And when you generate a lot of opinions, you're going to have to understand some of them will be negative, you know? It's just the way it works. You can't make some of the people happy some of the time, but you can't make all the people happy all of the time.
I got to roll with the punches, man. There's someone here called rolling with the punches here. He's called, that's why I love Paulie. But I fucking hate you for hating on Canelo.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't hate on Canelo. I really think he's a good fighter. I mean, I just don't. I share the same opinion of some people who absolutely love Canelo. But that doesn't mean I don't think Canelo is a good fighter or a bona fide superstar fighter. You know, I do think that. But I still may have a difference of little subtle opinions that may make a big difference to some people. You know, and that's
that
kind
you're
of
allowed to have. Yeah,
and some people may call that hating, and some people may not. You know, depends.
Just because you don't like something, it doesn't make you a hater. It just means you don't like something.
Yeah,
like,
it depends. It depends where it's coming from. You know, I can understand some people always thinking anything negative is hating. It's not always hating. Sometimes constructive criticism is good too, and sometimes just calling out BS is not hating either. You know, sometimes there's got to be somebody who's going to call out the BS sometimes. But nobody likes that guy.
Yeah, no one likes that guy. I seem to be that girl. Like I call the BS and I'm just this. What we're going to talk about is so there was a fight that we thought we was going to get.
AJ.
Yeah. AJ and Tyson the Gypsy Queen fraudery. Fraudery.
Why don't you like him? You don't like Fury. I got my opinion on this pullout too, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, it may be different from mine. Let's go. What do you think?
Here's where I think the mind games are playing it. And I actually saw an interview recently with Deontay Wilder with the Schmo, and he seemed calm. So that's good. That's good for Deontay, because I think that the pulling out was supposed to be to kind of get Deontay over riled up. Because I thought Deontay was very, very riled up. I thought he was overly riled up, and I thought he's going to really walk into basically the trap Fury sets for him, you know, which is just to get him all riled up and then walk him into an overly emotional fight and knock him out.
Yeah.
But Wilder has stayed calm throughout this whole situation. But I'll tell you that I remember Wilder was Fury was gonna get ready to fight Vladimir Klitschko, and there was a bunch of trash talk. He got under Vladimir's skin. He was on his nerves. Vladimir couldn't stand him. He couldn't wait to get his hands on him. And then what did Tyson Fury do? He pulled out. So what happened? You riled Klitschko all the way to the peak, and then you dropped him. And then you've now set the new fight date, and Klitschko has to restart his mental energy and his physical energy all over again. It just wasn't the same. By the time they got to fight night, Klitschko showed up like dead. And that's a credit to Fury, both for the mind games and for his physical boxing prowess. Don't get me wrong. But nonetheless, I also think some of it has to do with the mind games played on Vladimir. He was taken to a very, very top, and then he was dropped. And I just don't feel like he's emotionally or physically ever recovered to get into the same kind of mindset and body set the same way. By that token, now I'm nobody to say Fury faked COVID, okay? But you know,
bro, we can say it. We can say what we fucking want.
But I may be hinting at it, not for the reason that Wilder fans think, though. Wilder fans think he may have hated it because he's scared. No. I think he did the same thing, or he was attempting to do the same thing he did to Vladimir at that time. Get Wilder all the way to the top, rile him, and then drop him, and then make him restart again emotionally and physically for a new camp where he'll never reach that kind of peak again, because he just aired out of him. The life has aired out of him, and show up to fight night just not the same guy. Now, it may work, it may not work. I thought from the way Deontay sounded to me in his interview when I watched him with the Schmo, sounded actually calmer than I expected. Like he was actually confident about it. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work. Against Vladimir, it worked to a T. But I think Fury did this as a mind game and not anything else. My personal opinion, he pulled out with the same intention to mess up Deontay's mindset and overplay, or have him overplay emotionally into the first go around, and then not get the fight. And then by the time he shows up to the real fight, there's nothing left there. I think he's looking to do the same thing to Wilder that he did to Vladimir Klitschko. My personal opinion.
Do you think the fight happens October 9th?
I do. I think the fight happens October 9th now, because the second time when he did it with Klitschko, the fight did happen. And as a matter of fact, I believe that fight also. Was it November?
He fought Klitschko only once. No,
he did, but he was supposed to fight him earlier.
Yeah.
He was supposed to fight him earlier, and he pulled out. So what I'm saying is, I think the October 9th date happens. I think the fight happens.
Who wins?
I mean, I'm not gonna go away from my prediction that Fury wins the fight, but I'm interested to see if the mind game worked or if it favored Deontay to give him time to actually calm down. Because personally, I think Deontay was too riled up. I think he was walking into a trap this time around. Personally, I think Fury should have fought him this time and not waited, because I think he had Deontay where he wanted him. I think this time around, it may benefit Deontay to calm down, because he was way too over the top. With Klitschko, you took Klitschko out of his element the first time anybody had done that. Klitschko was always the calm, stoic guy, and Tyson was the first guy to really show that he can get under his skin.
Right.
Deontay is more of an overly emotional guy. He's a little bit like a Sicilian, I guess. He gets very, very emotional, and so it wasn't the first time somebody got under his skin, got him mad, got him pissed off. So I think Deontay is more used to being this guy than Vladimir was at that time. Vladimir was a very calm guy, and all of a sudden he became this guy, and it just wasn't him, and he didn't know how to deal with it when the pullout happened. But I think Wilder, and again, it's just me in my opinion, he may know how to deal with it better. We'll see. I think. I think that's what Fury was going for. I'm not saying it's going to work. I think that's what Fury was going for. He was going for the same mind game he played against Vladimir Klitschko. And I'm still not going to tell you that I changed my pick, but it does make it a little bit interesting now, because I don't know if this benefits Tyson as much as it might benefit Deontay. I still pick Fury, but I'm questioning whether this actually might not benefit Deontay more than it does Tyson. We'll see.
And do you think it's anything remotely to do with poor ticket sales?
I mean, you never know. I might have part of my, that always is a partial problem. I mean, I heard the first go around with Mayweather and Logan Paul was canceled because of poor ticket sales too. So I'm not sure if those rumors are always the catalyst. It may be part. It may be one of several catalysts. Sure, but if the way I see it, man, if the ticket sales are that poor, then make the fight in the UK. You'll never get poor ticket sales in the UK
don't want it
like that. You'll never get poor ticket sales.
True. Even though you're right, it would.
And Tyson knocked him out last time anyway, so it's not like it'd be out of order to put the fight in the UK. You'll never get poor ticket sales there, not for a fight of this magnitude. No way. So if
you're right.
The problem, then just make the fight in the UK.
I wonder why they didn't do that then. That's a good idea. I didn't think of it.
Yeah, I don't know either.
We can't travel because we can't travel to the US. So that played a part on maybe 50% of tickets.
Oh, that might. If the Brits can't travel to the US for this fight, I mean, they're selling, even in the US, they're selling most of the tickets. They're buying most of the tickets. So of course, ticket sales are going to probably be more poor. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I guess
your sound's funny. Your sound's funny. Change your sound.
My sound's funny. Am I good now?
It sounds like it's gone from. We heard the bass and now it's tinny. It went a bit like tinny.
Am I good now?
That's weird.
This technology is the worst, man.
It's like a microphone is unplugged. Did you have a mic unplugged?
No, I didn't have headphones. This time I didn't have headphones. I didn't have anything. It's still bad. It's still bad.
Yeah, it's not. It's just like the bass is dropped out of your voice. It sounds like you're far away from the.
How we doing now?
Let me hear it.
How we doing?
Talk. Check one.
Check one. Talk. Check one.
It sounds like you're in a goldfish bowl. What happened?
I don't know, man.
Turn up. Is your phone covering the microphone? Is your hand covering the microphone? Nothing.
I'm holding it the same way I was before.
That's strange, isn't it? Tinny sound.
We try to jump off and jump back in.
You jump off and jump back in and come back. Yeah, and come back in. Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
All right, jump off.
Again, go ahead. So yeah, guys. You catch the replay. No worries. There's loads that I want to chop up with Paulie. As you see, he's very highly opinionated, just like myself. We're opinionated, but we have opinions, and sometimes it may piss people off, but opinions are opinions, and people are allowed to have one. Let me hear you.
All right, let's check it now.
Yeah, you're back.
Well, all right, we're back.
Yeah, you're back. Good. If it happens again, you just do the same thing. I don't know.
This technology, man.
You and technology is just the worst.
Me and technology do not get along at all.
You're a dinosaur in comparison to where technology. We're gonna have to get you up to speed, Pauline.
Nah. I like where I am.
I know some people are just not into technology at all. I'm a gadget girl. I really do like gadgets, but technology always disappoints
I'm
people.
one of those conspiracy guys where I feel like everybody spies on us with technology.
Everyone's watching you.
The more technology that we have in the house, the worse it is for us. So I stay away. I don't move with the times.
No, I feel like that sometimes as well. Sometimes my Alexa, she'll just start talking, and that
was crazy. Yeah, Alexa for sure spies on us. I got stories that I'm not going to share on here, but Alexa for sure spies on us. 100%.
Yeah, she does. She says loads of things, and look, she's talking now. Oh, sorry. Look, there you go. She does her. Yeah, you don't need to connect to the internet. Let her just go. So, okay, so you feel that. So, do you feel that Wilder will lose in a different way than he lost in the second fight?
No. I think if Wilder is to lose the fight, it's going to be because Fury takes it to him again. I think Wilder's technical problem is that he can't fight going backwards. So I think that's a very difficult thing to overcome and just to unlearn. There's guys who have been bona fide top level fighters who just couldn't overcome that, being backed up. They couldn't fight. Julio Cesar Chavez couldn't fight going backwards. When you backed him up, he had a problem. I remember Zab Judah. The reason I felt like I had an easier time with Judah than people expected was because I knew if I back him up, he's not as effective. And I, from having seen him in the gym for so many years, I knew that, and that's how I fought him. I backed him up. I got in his face. There are certain really good fighters who are still great fighters, but they just don't fight well back up. And I think Wilder is one of those guys. He's a very good fighter, but when he backs up, there's something that in him that just doesn't click, and he's a different fighter. He's very ineffective.
Can you not learn to fight on the back foot?
You can. It's very difficult once your style is kind of set and ingrained. You can. I mean, Wilder has like a step back right hand type of stuff.
Yeah.
He'll counter you as he steps back. But when consistently backed up, when you're now on the back foot and you're in that motion of going backwards, being walked down, there's a certain mindset and there's a certain way you need to fight. And Wilder doesn't have that. And a lot of guys just don't have that. As a matter of fact, another one is like that is Amir Khan. Amir Khan, very good fighter, but when you backed up Amir, he just wasn't the same kind of fighter.
When you punch that chin, it shatters to pieces. Bro. Yeah. Like I keep having these debates with the Wildettes, the Wilder Brigade, like I call them. I don't know if you've got more insight in the story of why Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder didn't fight. Can you say what anything going back from 2018 of why we offered him $50 million and he didn't take the
I don't know. There's a lot of gamesmanship there. I'm not really sure though. I'm not really sure a lot of times who's telling the truth and whatnot. I don't know. I mean, they can say they offered Joshua $50 million, but you can't just make that kind of a deal with a guy of the level of Joshua either. You're talking to a guy who probably ended up making $100 million fighting in Saudi Arabia, right? So
yeah, he did.
So I mean, you're making flat fee offers when these are fights that you don't fight for flat fees. These are fights where you fight for a flat fee plus incentives, and you can make a guy of the level of Joshua a flat fee offer. It just doesn't. It's not a good business model. And a guy like Joshua, who's a good businessman, probably has a lot of good business people working with him. It'd be hard to take that offer, again, because if you look at what happened afterwards, I mean, this guy was making more than $50 million fighting other guys anyway. You know what I'm saying? So the flat fee $50 million offer wasn't really as good of a deal as people may have made it sound. And that's just me talking, probably not having the full story. There's probably more to that story anyway.
Well, they made initially Deontay Wilder a flat fee of 12.5 million, and then it went to 15 million. And at this time, Wilder, the 12 million flat fee was Wilder obviously had the WBC belt. AJ's trying to be undisputed, and they offered Wilder 12 million. Now, Wilder hadn't made that in his whole career up until that point. Do you think that was an unreasonable thing to offer someone a flat fee and you're the A side? Or I don't know. I got posed this question.
Well, with Joshua having more belts, he was probably always going to be the A side, right? At that time, both were undefeated. But having said that, I don't know. I'm not in these guys' shoes, so it's hard. But just from the outside looking in, I remember feeling that version of Wilder and that version of Joshua my pick was probably Wilder because I felt I wasn't convinced with Joshua's head movement or lack of head movement.
Yeah.
And the best way to catch a guy who doesn't have a lot of head movement is with straight punches. And Wilder's jab right hand, the straight right hand and the jab are his best asset. So I just felt like the weakness Joshua had would have kind of been a foil for the best weapon Deontay has, right? So at that time I was under the feeling that when either guy had lost yet, both guys were on full confidence that Wilder might win the fight because Joshua is always a bit chinny and Deontay knocks out guys who aren't even chinny. He hits that hard. So I felt like, just me from the outside looking in without all the details, I may have taken the 12 mil if I was Wilder just to get the undisputed title, because feeling that Wilder would win that fight. Obviously if you lose the fight, you look like, oh, why'd you take that fight? But it's still your career high payday, at that time. But
what is Joshua chinny? Like, this is what I want to ask because I keep hearing
I think every heavyweight is a bit chinny, right? I think every heavyweight, because you get hit by guys that big, you're always in a big. But Joshua, what makes a guy chinny to me is when he starts getting hurt with shots that aren't even on the chin. When they hit him in the head, and then all of a sudden he's still getting wobbled. Like I've seen Joshua get hit with shots that weren't even on the chin, and then his legs buckle. So he's not. That means he's liable to be hurt just getting hit anywhere on his face, So that to me that makes you a little bit more vulnerable. Well, some guys, you got to click them on the button to really make them do that, But he's not like that, So he's a bit more chinny than maybe some other heavyweights. But listen, everybody, and I think everybody in the heavyweight division is going to be chinny to a degree. Guys that big are going to go down. I mean, Steve Cunningham dropped Tyson Fury, if you remember.
Fury, the cruiserweight.
Guys that big, or when they hit each other, they're gonna hurt each other. But it's just the size of these guys. It's a different kind of guy.
But what about how you recover? So if you're chinny, you get dropped, but you get up.
Mm-hmm.
And you win.
Yeah, the recovery is important too. That's another thing. Joshua, in the AJ and the Ruiz fight,
he couldn't recover that, could he?
It was really uncomfortable to see him not be able to recover ever.
Yeah.
Once he got hurt, and the irony about that knockdown is that he had just dropped Ruiz. So Ruiz showed great recovery skills, and Joshua never recovered again. So that was really interesting to me because Joshua, I'd seen him hurt. I worked the Dillian White fight early in his career. And Joshua overcame that. He got hurt and he overcame that. When he was hurt, he was badly hurt. He overcame that, and then he came back and won by knockout. And then I worked the Klitschko fight as well when he was on the canvas in that fight, and he got up and overcame and he won that fight. So for me, and I would never lose respect for a guy like Joshua because he's been showing himself to be a warrior inside the ring, on the canvas or standing up. The Ruiz fight was really a shock to me that he couldn't recover because this has been a guy who comes up roaring when he's been hurt and he recovers. It's not easy to do. So it gives you a different level of respect for that kind of a fighter, that kind of a human being, that kind of a man. I respect that a lot when I see fighters do that, especially when I end up seeing them do it more than once. White had him hurt bad, came back and knocked him out. Klitschko had him down, came back and was looking to finish him, came back and knocked him out. So when he dropped Ruiz, yes, I was shocked when Ruiz came back and dropped him back. But I never in my wildest imagination would have thought that that's the end of Joshua in this fight. Like that he's down and not coming back. That was an absolute shock because people were shocked that Ruiz won the fight. I picked Joshua to win the fight, but I wasn't one of these people who didn't know who Ruiz was. Ruiz is a damn good fighter even before that. So I expected him to be a little bit more of a handful than people thought. I just thought Joshua would win.
Yeah.
So I wasn't totally shocked that, I was still wrong. I was shocked at everybody else when Joshua went down. But the more shock to me was that he just couldn't recover anymore. It was crazy. He just couldn't recover anymore. When I had seen this guy, I'd worked personally fights. I worked the Dillian White fight. I worked the Vladimir Klitschko fight. I watched this guy with my own eyes overcome this like a champion and come back and knock these guys out bad, So it's like
punches.
I just couldn't understand it, So
let me ask you something.
It does leave something in your mind now to wonder, if
was there something wrong with Wilder?
First of all, if he's to fight a Wilder, again, now this Wilder and then this Joshua is different. Now they've both taken losses. You don't know how psychologically how confident they're going to be. You know, after losing the way they've lost, you don't know if it's the same Wilder and Joshua that I'm speaking about 3 years ago. When
I
we were
doubt it. Yeah, after a loss.
But even then, Joshua's the kind of guy you get up, you don't get up anymore. He knocks you down, you don't get up anymore. Man. I mean, and with Tyson, with AJ's chin vulnerabilities, the question would be, would he even get up? Would he be able to?
Yeah.
You know, he may try, but would he be able to get up? So
when you was at Ruiz 1.
That was at Ruiz 1, yes.
So I know there's no excuses, but me as a Joshua supporter, Joshua fan, whatever you want to call, like I've watched many of Joshua fights. I called it. I was sitting with my friends and I was like, just his ring walk. I was like, there's something wrong with him. There was something that wasn't quite right with him. I just didn't get it. He got into the ring. It was more of a glazed over look. And then after the fight it ended, you saw Joshua's dad try to go for Eddie Hearn and Joshua go to kind of stop.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible something was wrong there. We don't know. You know, I mean, but I don't want to definitely put it on there. The thing about AJ is the last guy that's going to give you an excuse.
Yeah,
you know? Even if it's not an excuse. Sometimes, you know, for me, when it's not an excuse, it's a reason. You know, it might be a legitimate reason. But AJ is not the kind of guy that visits these conversations. Again, it takes a different kind of man to be that guy. Because me, you know me, when I was losing, I was always complaining. You know, so for AJ to be that
what
kind of
was your worst complaint?
Yeah, you know, I'll admit it. It's hard, you know. So
what was your worst one?
I mean, the worst was when you really outright feel like you got robbed. I mean, Broner fight and Juan Diaz fights, I really thought I won the fight.
Yeah,
you know,
but this is what Iceman said. Paulie was robbed. Super chat.
Yeah, so I mean, in those conditions, you know, I'm gonna have my say. But AJ, yeah, I've heard a lot of people saying to me, "Oh, you know, he didn't look right walking to the ring. He didn't look this." But he'll and it may be, it may not be. But AJ will never tell you. At least he'll never say it publicly. So
you say it,
and to me, that's again, it's a kind of guy that I really have a lot of respect for because I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't. You know, if something was wrong with me, I'd have to tell you. You know what I'm saying? I'd have to tell you. Like, I'd at least have to tell some people. I'd at least have to tell some people. You know, AJ won't. You know, so I don't know. But you got to give credit to Ruiz. You got to give credit to Ruiz for that win.
Yeah, gave credit to Ruiz. I just thought it was strange. It was even how I felt when I saw Wilder Fury 2. I said the same thing. I said, "What? There's something wrong with Wilder. Why does he look like I thought the same thing there. This is all I'm saying. I thought the same thing when I saw Povetkin come in part 2. Povetkin rematch with Dillian White. I called it then. I was like, there's something wrong. Every time I've said that in the ring walk.
The shame about AJ is it was his American debut. A lot of people were waiting for him there, and so it kind of imploded in his face there. You know.
What do you define as a true champion? In your books, in boxing, like what's the criteria to feel to be a champion?
To be a championship level fighter, starts with character. You need a lot of character. So you know they say boxing is more mental than physical. In that regard, I say it's very physical. Well, you definitely need the genetics as well as the discipline, but the discipline comes from the mental aspect, and the character also comes from the mental aspect. Actually, yeah, you could probably say discipline is it's one piece of the character you need to have, and several pieces of character. You know, you need to have the character to be able to withstand punishment. You need to have the character to be disciplined and trained. You need to have the character to not get overly emotional in pressure situations and handle the pressure of a big crowd and handle the big moment. You know, all of those things require character. So character, first and foremost, is your biggest criteria to make a championship level fighter. Then DNA also comes into play. DNA comes into play. And then training, technique, good trainers, smart in being in the smart training, having a good trainer, having a good team. That also comes into play as well. Knowing exactly what you need, because every fighter is different. You can't train fighter A and fighter B the same way. They may both be championship level fighters, but they may both need different types of training in order to get the best out of themselves. So you need to have trainers that understand that you know what a certain fighter needs to be worked on in his arsenal, or how to work with a certain guy's arsenal to make him a better fighter, to get the best out of him. So I think there's a lot of things that are involved, but those are basically my criteria.
So is Tyson Fury the #1 heavyweight champion of the world?
I think that Tyson Fury is the #1 heavyweight in the world right now. Yes, I do. I think he is.
So does a trick. So did Muhammad Ali defend the title?
Did Muhammad Ali defend the title?
Any titles that he had?
Yeah, of course. Ali defended. Ali, yeah, of course.
Okay. Did Mike Tyson defend titles?
Yeah, of course.
Did
Yeah.
Evander Holyfield defend titles?
Yeah, of course. I know. Okay, I see where you're getting at. Because Tyson Fury's never defended titles. Yes, I see where you're getting at. I mean, the book has not been written yet on Tyson Fury. If he goes his whole career without defending titles, then you have a gripe here for sure. You have a gripe here. Right now, the book's not completed yet. But I think in the moment, when somebody is active, you don't judge everything necessarily by what has he done yet. You also have to judge. You also have to judge. You also have to put into that criteria: would he beat this guy? Would he beat that guy? Would he beat that guy? I think while on paper he hasn't accomplished what Joshua or Fury have. I mean, while Joshua or Wilder have as far as defending the title, I think he beats them both, and he's already beaten one of them. I think he beats them both, but. The book has to still be written on overall on that judgment, because yes, if he ends up retiring without defending titles, it's not a great look. But if he retires without defending titles and beating the other top two heavyweights of this era, I mean, you gotta still kind of put into play that he beat both guys who had those title defenses. So let's see how this book ends. Let's see if he wins his next belt. And let's see if he beats Joshua. Huh?
He's had every belt before though, and when it came to defend them, the IPF got stripped, and the rest he vacated.
Yeah. Well, he didn't have all. He didn't have the other belts before. Oh, did he? Oh,
no, he didn't have them all. He took them all from Klitschko.
Yes.
So it's not like he hasn't had time in his 34 fights.
Yeah, I mean, technically, the Wilder rematch is going to be
that'll be his first title defense.
Yeah. So yeah,
so
the book is not written. I mean, I think that's a good talking point, but I mean, that's going to happen. I think that's going to happen.
That's black.
Yeah. No, I think I definitely think the title defenses matter. I mean, I don't see why
Tyson not saying, or you when you had your title. Oh, I've got them now, and I'm not.
No, but you know what's funny about? It's funny you mention that, because the funny thing about title defenses, you want to make them. That's where you get paid the most money. Like, I made the most money in my title defenses. So as a fighter, I mean, listen, I never made Wilder, Joshua, or Fury money, but I still made pretty good money for my life. And I knew when I picked up one of those world championships, the defenses was sometimes not even the challenge was paying that much, but the defenses were where I was going to bank my money. So I wanted to defend those titles. I wanted to do that. So we'll see.
Yeah. I was just wondering about and when it came to. What did you think about Undisputed not happening? Did you see any fault? What side did you see the fault being?
Nah, I can't really pick one side or the other with that, because business is business, and sometimes it gets very difficult, and you don't always get all the sides. You're gonna probably get one side where it's gonna be for Wilder saying, oh well, Joshua didn't do this, and you're gonna get the Eddie Hearn side for Joshua saying, well, Wilder didn't do this. It's very, very difficult to be behind those closed doors negotiating those kind of fights. It's not that cut and dry like people think. Like I notice sometimes, and when I read comments on social media about these fights, well, this guy ducked this guy because of so and so, because of such and such reason, and it's just like the tip of the iceberg for the whole story of why that fight didn't happen. So you can nitpick and take each side if you're going to nitpick sides, because if you're going to nitpick reasons, you're going to have a reason for both sides not making the fight happen. So really, it's just there's multi layers to why certain fights don't happen.
Yeah, we're not in the boardroom or whatever.
Yeah. So I can't go and blame one guy or the other for that, because those are very difficult negotiations. I mean, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. Somebody's at fault. Somebody's at fault, but I'm not in the position to say who's at fault. Behind those, none of us are really, because none of us are behind those closed doors to know all of the facts, because we only always get some of the facts. We don't get all of the facts, and then when it doesn't happen, both sides come out of those closed doors and blame the other side. So then we never really never get the true story anyway. So it's not up to us to really know for sure.
Paulie, when you've got Bob Arum going around saying that when this fight was going to happen, that there was nothing that could deter the Undisputed in arbitration. The worst outcome that we could get, the worst outcome, and big up Sporting Icons because he went on my pal's Sporting Icons show and said these words, is that, you know, we just have to pay Wilder some monetary value, you know, of not taking this fight. Then so Bob Arum had said this. So wouldn't you think that Bob Arum, who's the promoter, who is friends with Daniel Weinstein, would know what he's talking about? So Eddie Hearn thought it was a fair run that he could go and make the fight.
Bob is
he's a liar. That's what I'm
Bob's
saying.
a businessman. Bob's own quote is, "Yesterday I was lying, today I'm telling the truth." You know,
I said that today.
You know, that's business in general. It's just Bob's old school Brooklyn. So he'll tell you to your face. You know, that's just the way these corporate guys work. You know, because they don't admit it. Bob at least will admit it. You know.
I said that quote today on the Boxing Voice. I did say that quote today. I said, "Well, Bob's a liar. Like, you selectively, when he says something and it fits your narrative, he's
the thing about it. The thing about it is they're all liars. It's just Bob's the only one. Bob's the only one that'll tell you straight up. Listen, all right, I'm a liar. Bob's the only one straight up that'll tell you. You know, but they're all liars.
Yeah, I said that as well today. I said they're all liars. I said, including Eddie Hearn, they're promoters. That's what they do. They lie, don't they? So they lie for a living. But I was just interested in seeing your opinion on why that fight didn't happen. Okay, so when we moved over to the Tyson Fury Wilder 2 happening, and that outcome happened, which I think maybe you called for it, that Fury was going to beat Wilder in the second fight, right?
And then, but I didn't expect it like that. I thought there was a lot of gamesmanship being talked that Fury was going to walk down Wilder. I really thought Fury was going to fight a technical fight. He really walked him down. I understood afterwards with his explanation, and for that reason, I think he's going to play it exactly that way. And on my understanding of why Wilder can't fight going backwards, now I understand the whole thing. But Fury was very astute in understanding that even before I understood it. You know, very very smart boxing mind that Fury has.
Yeah. And so when you heard the excuses, what was your thoughts?
Here's my thing. The excuses are ridiculous, but Wilder has to convince himself that he can win the rematch. So he's got to almost brainwash himself. Now, I don't have a problem so much with Wilder brainwashing himself. He's going to put himself in a position where he's going to want to jump off the bridge if he gets knocked out again, though, because people are going to laugh even more at these excuses if he comes and gets knocked out in the third fight. But he has no choice almost. If he's going to have a third fight, he's got to convince himself in every way, shape, or form that it wasn't his fault that he lost and he can knock this guy out. So I don't necessarily have a problem with Wilder brainwashing himself.
You don't have a problem with him saying that Mark Breland spiked his water?
No. That I have a problem because now you're assassinating the character of a good man. That I have a problem. But a lot of other excuses, you know, it's just him trying to convince himself he can win the fight. But I do have a problem with all his fans being that dumb and believing it. Like, you got to be a moron. You got to be an outright moron to think that glove was not in tightly. I mean, anybody, including professional fighters, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so any professional fighter that took Wilder's back is a lying scumbag. Okay, and including Wilder himself. Wilder himself knows that when your hand is gauzed up, those fight gloves are so tight that you need help to put them on even before they are tied. Your hand barely fits in there when the gauze is wrapped. So to put on a glove, a professional fight glove, they are so small when your hand is so gauzed up that you can't get one on yourself. You need somebody to hold it for you, and you need to slip your hand in the glove. There's no room to play with. There's no room to fiddle around inside there, to slide your hand in and out of it. There's nothing. And then on top of that, when they do that, they make it tight. They tie it. They tape it.
I know.
Somebody on your team watches. There's no way that glove can do any of that. But what Fury does a lot of times is he'll flail with some punches. He'll use some throwaway punches and flip, and then use them as throwaway punches, and then catch you with the hard shot to follow. He does that a lot.
He'll flick with the left, come in with the right.
If you take a still shot of that, it may look like a flailing glove, but you gotta be first of all, you gotta be an ignorant moron to think that. But as a fighter, you're a lying scumbag. You know why? And Wilder knows too that he's lying. Wilder knows he's lying. And this is the problem. With all the other excuses, I can say, Wilder has to convince himself. But with this one, the glove excuse proves that even Wilder, to me, feels he can't win the fight. Because when you went that far to know something that you yourself, a fighter, know is impossible, it's not possible for that to be true. Because as a fighter, we all know how the fight gloves fit. You know yourself, you've now gone overboard, and you know yourself, you got your ass whooped, and you're not going to win this fight. That's the problem I have. I would almost agree with Wilder in every sense except for the Breland thing. But then when you give me the glove excuse, because you can give me the excuse of the outfit being too big, my legs weren't feeling. Listen, give me all that.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Listen, I understand. You got to convince yourself. I'll take it. But when you assassinate Breland's character, who's a good man, I have a problem with that. But then on top of that, you're assassinating his character. The guy's check depends on you winning too. So you obviously he wants you to win. You know, number one. Number two, then you're giving me an excuse with this flailing glove. That we all know, professional fighters, we know we're in that circle, where we know how these gloves fit when we're gauzed up. It is impossible. And then when he gave that excuse, I knew right then and there, he's just trying to cause a stir to get enough people to back him to push for this rematch. That's all he wants. He wants to get another payday out of this.
Well, can I play devil's advocate?
There's nothing else. There's nothing there. He can't win that fight. And he knows he can't win that fight. And by saying that, he knows he can't win that fight. Because if he hadn't used that glove excuse, I would say, you know what? Maybe he feels if he convinces himself and he brainwashes himself, he can win this fight. But that glove excuse is the deterrent for me. That glove excuse, when he knows, I know, and anybody who's ever fought a professional fight knows, there is no way you can move your hand around in that glove, especially knowing that the commission and your own coach watch that glove wrapping, the hand wrapping, glove taping, glove tying, glove taping, and the
no
way
that.
There's no way. There's not even a limit.
He said JD was inexperienced watching hands get wrapped.
That's what I'm saying. You want to blame Breland for the water. You want to blame JDS for being inexperienced. Listen, bro, you're blaming too many people now. You know what I'm saying? You blame.
Oh, what happened to you? Did you press the button? Paulie's frozen. Every time you talk about Wilder, this is what happens. Do 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 do. This is the Twilight Zone. Paulie, jump out and come back in. Jump out and come back in. Maybe his battery died. This is what happens when you talk about Deontay Wilder. But I wanted to throw a devil's advocate question in there as well. We have a super chat. Rolling with the punches. What's up? I'll be rolling with some punches today, I'll tell you. Earlier, I was getting punched up. I was getting pieced up. They were trying to piece a girl up. Does Paulie think some fighters use COVID as excuse? And did Paulie ever walk out to Heart Magic Man? Lol, would have been classic. Let's I've got a feeling his battery died. More than a feeling his Paulie and technology is the worst. But I want to play devil's advocate. So, you know me. I do keep it fair. People just think I bang on people for no reason, or I just do it for the sake of it. But like, if I think of a ding moment, like, oh, maybe even if it's a fighter that I don't rock with, I may think, what about this though? Sultry. Sultry. Don't ever diss our Wilder. He's our king. He's your king, innit? He is your king, innit, Chen Dog? I see you always on people's thingamajigs. I see you on people's lives. Yeah. They just hacked into Paulie's phone. Yeah, their hair. Wilder's a sponge for anything. No, his battery's dead. Don't worry, he'd be back. Is that still a thing, the LDBC Bomb Squad? Now, you Bomb Squad lot, I won't be putting up your Bomb Squad stuff. Like, unless you throw a half a dub on your girl. This is what we come in your trap, take over your trap. Malachi uses it and I use it too. So yeah, we won't be advertising no LDBC comments here unless you pay for them. Point blank, period. Yeah, I gave you a couple of pro bono ones. Pro bono. Well, I can see some mad ones. Yeah, Paulie speaking facts. Yeah, he always speaks facts. That's why like he just says it how he sees it. Not everything that we see is how how it is, but you know, it's called perspective. Everybody's got a different perspective, and it's called an opinion. You know, so yeah, I was dying. Paulie better get on to recuperate that story because that was hella funny. When he said lying, he said Wilder's just lying. Like at the end of the day, like I don't know, but there was something that I wanted to ask him about. You know what I mean? So, un momento. I think his battery is dead, though. I would. No volume, lady. No volume. Yeah, I know. I had it on mute, but it's just no sound. Yeah, I know. I muted it, and then I was just still talking to myself as I do. Yeah. This there's this guy that's just on here. He's just a super troll. It's so funny. I don't understand why. What did you say, Figures? Okay. Yeah, I told you. Like I said, his battery died. He coming back now. Back now. Super. Do you know I found out what? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hang on. Hang on. Let me read this super chat. Sean Runtings. Oh my gee. Mr. Nathan Powell. Oh, Mr. Nathan Powell. Sean Runtings. 20 Canadian dollars. Thank you for dropping a dub on your girl. Super chat. All right, here. We're introducing, big up Nathan Powell. We're introducing back again. Are we going to be able to see you? Because I can't see your face. Where your face? We can't see your face. You need to do it from wherever you was doing it from before. We cannot hear you, sir. We cannot. Yeah, there you are, Paulie. But you frozen. Paulie, you frozen. Paulie in this technology. I sometimes think that Shan and Paulie is not supposed to be talking. No talkie with Paulie, you know? Because you don't know. Paulie, you are frozen, my Jenna. Yeah, see, can you not go back in the house and charge it at the same time? Because now look, problems. Problemas, chulo. Lady Shan almost at 3K. Keep those stormtroopers on the run. Yeah, man, we're on the road to 3,000. Let's get it. Share, like, comment, share the stuff. Helps the channel grow. We get to do more stuff, you know? Simple as that. We get to do more stuff. I don't know. Paulie, that is baddie. Let me just remove that from the stream because he's being the magic man for real. He disappears. No, Iceman, I'm not. Very funny. How could I be? Wouldn't that be mad if I was? I don't know. He's charging in the car. Hang on, guys. Keep rolling with the punches. Oh yeah, now his battery's dead because it's one ticking up in the yeah. Wonder if no, we're not. Oh no, that's so funny. Sorry. Graham, you do come with them time after time. Paulie's charging the battery. Don't worry, he'll be back in a minute. That was in the car and it's just not good enough. Not good enough. Nate, that donation was epic. I love it. Thank you very much for that super chat. Thank you very much. It's massively appreciated. You dropped a dub on your girl. You get me? So I just want to see what you liked and subscribe. Check y'all later. Yeah, you have to like and subscribe. That's what you got to do. Big up John Evans. No, they don't. No, they don't have any cultural things. It's totally medical. It's just totally that. Oh gosh, the questions that you guys ask. Oh, that would be what culture I'm in. You know that I don't have a culture that does any of that. I'm afraid. All right, you are getting on my nerves this one, so you can be timed out. God, like we don't come over here with your stupid rhetoric. It don't work here. You guys, you have to check mods. You have to check out these stupid ones that come in and talk a load of super schmack. Yeah, he frozen. He being the magic man. It's like that. Pause. But he's the magic man for real. I keep telling you guys. Oh yeah, I did hear about this Caleb Plant thing, guys. So like I said, it's falling through. I don't know what Canelo's going to do, to be honest with you. To be totally honest with you, but hey, you know, these are rich people's problems. At this point in boxing, it's just like, I don't know, we don't seem to be getting much boxing, you know. And then people try to really criticize Anthony Joshua. He takes all the fights, whatever fights a man does, and that doesn't. Most of them are what I've seen seems to go through. Oh, but he's this, he's that. He's not a true fighter. He can't box. Right, but he takes all whatever, if that's what you think, but he takes all the fights. And then we waiting at 135 to take any fights. Devin Haney, Jojo Diaz, Ryan Garcia. We don't get any of the fights. We move it up to 160, Andrade, Jamal Charlo. They all be looking up at Canelo. They're not even in the same weight class. But anyway, I just these boxers want to be boxers, but they want to get paid for boxing, but they don't box. That's the thing. I don't get it. I don't get it. Lady Shan, let me see what you say. Yeah, he's charging his phone. Lady Shan, do you think Wilder doubling or tripling the jab gives him a greater chance against Fury? Yeah, I actually saw him. I think it was the first fight, and I scored him well for that because I think he did do a double jab. If I was correct, I think that you have to keep the stick in the face. Pause. But yeah, that's what you double up the jab, triple up the jabs. Look at the Oscar De La Hoya jabs. Oscar De La Hoya didn't know what a single jab was. Oscar De La Hoya was like 3, 4, 5 jabs like in a row, and that's what really confused his opponent. Something that I would like to ask Paulie, but you know, this guy and technology is the worst in life. His battery is still dead because I can see that it's still dead. It's the worst. It's the worst in life. He's just not good at technology. His battery's still dead. He went to the car to charge, and then he did say give him 10 minutes. When that little thing happened, the pixelated, they'd be holding up boxing all day long. But Yeah, we timed him out, sis. We timed him out. But yeah, I do feel that that is a possible move for Wilder to make on Fury. He's got to just switch it up, like if he's got a chance of any chance of winning. And this is what I also wanted to ask Paulie about, you know, good old Millie Cold Scott. No, you don't make you a troll just because you like Wilder. Doesn't no. So let me see what you got to say. Big up, my little sister. We don't want you to think some man is trolling for being in Wilder's corner. No, that's the fighter you like. There's not a problem. We only have problems when people just act like fanboys and like they don't see any wrong with their fighter. So yeah, we've been waiting for Paulie. You guys have said a lot here, isn't it? I had the screen blown up, so I didn't even. I had to look over there. I didn't see that. All of the stuff. Wow. Who fought and beat many a bum. Yeah. He fought and beat bums. When you bring up resume, it's always negated by them. They say that resume doesn't matter. But to get into the Hall of Fame, you know, you've got to have a pretty impressive resume. It's not that, oh, I beat some part-time boxers. You know, they decided to get a boxing license and they came out to get a check, probably like $1,000 for me to knock them out. And they returned back to their job after, you know, putting nice cold packs on their heads and that for a week. They're all right. That doesn't make you amazing, but I don't know. Who am I? I'm just a little old Shani from the block. That's who I am. Mike Tyson would break Fury's ribs. Yeah, that would be an amazing fight. Could you imagine Mike Tyson and Joe Joyce as well? I wanted to ask, yeah, I need to ask Paulie about this Joe Joyce thing as well, because Joe Joyce, like we saw, just does not fare well with he don't fare well with small fighters. My estimations on him have gone down. Yeah, he will be fighting Luis Ortiz. He's gonna beat Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz is 80. He sparred when he was 16, yeah. He sparred with Lennox Lewis. You're old. You're not 41. You're not. You're not. You couldn't have sparred with Lennox Lewis, which has been confirmed and it's a fact. And then, okay. Anyway, yeah. I just let people but big up to him, yeah, because for being an older guy, he can box, but let's not, like, who has he beat? Who has he beat? No one. He ain't beat nobody. You don't fight nobody, man. All you want is payday. Get the fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck out of here. You don't fight nobody. Yeah, we have to use Canelo on that one, because you ain't fought nobody, mate. Let's just have it right. What are you lot saying about Oscar? Ortiz is a granddad. Yeah, Ortiz is a granddad. Yeah, Bryant Jennings was Luis Ortiz's best win. Does my face say it all? Does it say it all? Look, I'll take the sweep off. Come on, like, I don't understand why Luis Ortiz is many great fighters in the past had amazing resumes, but I never. No, you don't get inducted into the Hall of Fame just because you've got an amazing resume, but you got to be fighting. You got to be doing something that is Hall of Fame inductable, and banging out 41, or maybe just we'll take off a couple of couples. Banging out 40, 39 Uber drivers doesn't automatically get you into the Hall of Fame. You don't. And they keep saying that Wilder's going straight to the Hall of Fame. Houseway. We just about got Floyd Mayweather in there. Anyway, that's why I just can't operate from delusions of grandeur. Super delusions of grandeur. Let me just find out where this guy and his phone, the baddest, he is not good with the, I don't know why you just don't have your phone charged. I'm 41. I respect pro boxer at Ortiz's age. Shit can't be easy. No, it can't. It can't be easy. It definitely can't be easy because I don't know. At that age, I give him kudos for fighting at that age, but he's messed up a lot of his career, Luis Ortiz, to be fair. So, like, and now, you know, he's just going to be, he'd be a journeyman because that's what Joe Joyce is going to use him as. And Joe Joyce is going to bang him over for sure, for sure, for sure. That's the level that Joe Joyce, they need to make him look amazing now because of how rubbish he looked against Carlos Takam. Oscar was a beast. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I've seen some training of him recently, you know, guys, and he's still good. He's still doing that quadruple jab, not playing. Sometimes in these training videos, they do, you know, ramp it up and fast forward it. But even though I just did saying that he didn't look too well when I saw him on hot boxing with Mike Tyson, because he didn't. I still don't think that he should run towards the ring and think, and he's calling out Canelo and Floyd Mayweather. Maybe Floyd Mayweather because that's your era, and you guys do your what's the fight called? You do your exhibition fight, but don't call out Canelo. Just don't be an idiot all your life and be calling out no Canelo. That can't run. Stop it. You're out of pocket for that because Canelo and you had Canelo. You conned Canelo. You conned Canelo. You did deals behind Canelo's back. Canelo had to do some suing thing to even leave you. You've been doing some bitter ex-girlfriend business. Every minute that you can talk about Canelo, you talk about Canelo. Oscar, it's looking pretty sad. I don't like it. Just like leave. Yeah, I know. Canelo plant off. Just leave Canelo alone. He may put you know, like what's them things when you don't want someone to come near you. He may get a restraining order on you. That's what he may do. Restraining order. Joyce is not getting a PBC bout. No, Joyce is. Guys, that was just bad. What do you got? Who thinks that Carlos Takam, was it a premier stoppage? Let me just see in the chat. Tell me. If you think it was a premier stoppage, premature stoppage, thumbs up. If you think it wasn't, thumbs down. Because I need to see what people saw. But I can see two different ways. Because some people have said, but let me see what you guys think. Thumbs up if it was premature. Right. Technicalities as fucking usual, guys. I don't know what happened to Paulie. Do you remember this happened already? I don't know. My one just started to spin out, and it just was on some fuck shit. So I can't help anybody when the guest can't get his shit together. Paulie Malignaggi. He's saying he can't connect. I don't know what all that's about. I don't know. So I was trying to help, but like I'm doing it from the car. There's no connection there. So I'm chiming out. Whatever the weather, I've got to. Yeah, I know you're saying welcome back, but is it a real welcome back? No, it's not. 1 second, guys. Yeah, so I can't help someone that doesn't know good. All good next time. Rolling with the punches. Everybody. Rolling with the punches. Mr. Man. Slide and counter. Anthony Moley. Lisa Bales. In the building. Leon Figures. Kelly Melia. There's loads of you guys that came through. Jed Gremlin. EB. I'm reading out even if you trolls. EB bad stoppage. We'll talk about this. I wanted to talk about it with 20 shots unanswered. See? Graham Taylor, rolling with the punches. Shook one. G Martinez. John Evans. Lifetime Ian. Loquechea Bieman. Johnny Olsen. And that is that, Jack. Anyway, I'm gone. I'll be back. Don't worry. Shani's never far away. Thanks for all tuning in. Paulie will have to get at me when he gets at me when he finds out another technicality. Anyway, hey girl, it's Lady Shan, nonetheless. Come back to Shan. Gone. Rah!